with clever meme, with funny tweet, I'll never leave my office seat. Those who think they know what's right, listen on Sundays to NetHeads, all right?
You've got to throw some cold water on this situation. Start talking about nerd stuff.
You know, nerd culture is mainstream now. So when you use the word nerd derogatorily, it means you're the one that's out of the zeitgeist.
System activate.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins and Trent Hunsaker. It's a tech podcast. But we are a ton cooler than your typical geek, giving you the info you need to achieve mega nerd status. NetHeads.
You guys rock.
And now, here's Will and Trent.
Or maybe just Will this week. We'll see. For all I know, Trent could join in as we're moving along. Or he might not. I don't know. We're playing it by ear. And the reason why we're playing by ear, hi everybody, my name's Will, welcome. Reason why we're playing by ear is because when you're behind the scenes, you learn a lot of stuff. And anything I have learned, it is that podcast numbers don't go up when you don't do shows, which is the reason why we're here right now talking. And I said well, still we, but you don't have Trent, Will. Well, that's true. Trent, actually, for those that don't know, last week he had Salt Lake Comic-Con, and he's got a day job, so he's had so much stuff going on. You just can't put upon people all the time. And really, yes, there is some monetary side to this stuff, but when you're a lonely little podcast like we are, it's not like you're rolling in advertising dollars. No, you're making it up as you go. And that's what we're doing today. Now, let me tell you guys a little story first, real quick here. Today is a special show because it is one of the times, and there's only been one other time before this where I have gotten to bring what I would definitely call my passion to the show. The first time was actually on the podcast, I think Radio Askew. And I got to talk to a person that had been on a reality show. And this show it's one of my favorites only because of the complexities that occur with the contestants once they go where they go for this. And you're thinking, oh my God, he's talking Survivor. No, I'm not. Right network, wrong show. Now, it's also interesting to me the way that worlds collide and they intersect. In this case, all of you know, I have the benefit of being able to lend my professional services to Kevin Smith and Smodco, and through that I got to meet a guy who I really dig. He is an animator, and his name is Josh Stifter. You've heard him here on the show, and interestingly enough, even though I had chatted with the person that's on the podcast with us today previously via Twitter, I still didn't realize there was a frickin' connection, and there was, because Josh has been on the show, and then it turns out after the fact, after I found out he already followed me, which I don't understand. I mean, this is a guy with around roughly 75,000 followers on Twitter, in case you're also wondering why he's on the show. That's another reason. It's always a benefit. It's always a boost. You hope for some of that cross-pollination, and guess what? Shit never happens. But you know what? We can use that as an excuse to get him in, and that's all I care about. So it turns out I don't know what way to introduce him. This person, most of you do not know him as the actual friend of Josh Stifter. Not like, oh, well, he was on TV and now we're friends. No, I mean like friends before this shit happened to him. And that shit is a little show on CBS, happens every summer, and it's happening this fall too. And I want to talk to him about this just to get his take on it, amongst many other things. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna go ahead and just say it right here, right now. I'd like to welcome to NetHeads for the first time, hopefully not the last, Mr. McCrae Olsen, coming to us live from Minnesota.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Dude, the pleasure is all mine because, as I said before, I got to interview on Radio Askew Matt Hoffman. I don't know why the dude was willing to come on, other than the fact that, I think he knew his time had hit a crescendo, so he could start doing the shitty little podcasts instead.
Yeah. Hoffman's a great dude. Great guy.
He really is. He's a great guy. Yeah. I mean, dude even sent me all of his albums. I mean, it was so that was a thrill for me.
Shut up.
Dude, I got it right up. So, ladies and gentlemen, McCrae, for those of you that don't know, he was a contestant on the CBS reality show Big Brother, which for those of you listening in the UK know, it's a very different version of the show. Ever since season 2, it's kind of gone in its own direction, if you will. And I have been a watcher of the show since season 1, about halfway through, because at the time I was working at a place called Comedy World, and we happened to have this, I think one of the shows on the network had this crazy megaphone lady in who had been utilizing access to some canal to yell stuff into the contestants, which used to be a big thing. For those of you that don't know Big Brother, it's really simple. They converted a soundstage into a house with a studio outside of it. People get sequestered after they get chosen for the show. They go into this house, and basically for the lucky people that make it all the way to the end, it's 90 plus days of isolation. So first of all, McCrae, I got to ask you, why Big Brother? Figures. I think we lost him. Oh, there we go.
Oh, can
Now
you
you're
hear me?
back.
Technical difficulty. Sorry, folks. My mom was a big fan of Big Brother. She loved it. I was always like, whatever, I don't care. It's like reality TV garbage. I kind of like Survivor, but I still didn't get into it that much. One season, I believe it was season 6, my mom was like, this is a season that you should watch because these people are out of control. They're nuts. Like, they're just crazy people. And I was like, I'll give that a try. Started watching it, and sure enough, they're throwing chairs. Like, people are just getting wild. And I was like, this is great. But once, like, that's just like the surface of Big Brother is drama and all the reality show aspects of it. But the true beauty of Big Brother lies underneath the surface. It's the manipulation, the subtle tactics of trying to get your opponent to do. It's as my good friend Spencer Clausen from my season also describes it. It's the greatest game that a man could ever play, or a human could ever play. It's like hunting humans, essentially, just because you're using your mind, you're using your wits, you're using your skills to try to outmaneuver, outmanipulate, and try to kick people off week by week. And like, as I started seeing this on TV, and as I started like kind of realizing that the strategy is just so beautiful, I was hooked. And then sure enough, season 7 comes along, and that's the one with Dr. Will. And if anyone knows Big Brother, they know Dr. Will is just a god among men, someone who is the greatest just because he's the best at manipulating. He's cocky, he's egomaniacal, he's great. So after that, I was hooked. Obsessed. I love the show, watch it every season. Started watching live feeds. The other beautiful. Oh my God. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're good.
Oh my gosh. Sorry about that, folks. I live in the boonies. The other a beautiful thing about Big Brother is I completely lost where I was going with that.
The live feeds. But
live feeds.
Because there comes to a certain point where fans of the show, thankfully, I think it was after your season. I officially, that was the last one where I last minute subscribed to the live feeds.
Yeah.
Because there's only so much you can do. But it's great too when you do join in this experience, because you can see what actually happens, and then you get to see the way they cut it on the show.
Yeah, the difference between Survivor and Big Brother, one of the biggest differences is that Survivor is edited. The Survivor films their whole show, they bring it back to the editing bay, and narrative of like they know who the winner is, so they can cut up a narrative that makes it seem like, okay, well, this winner is more deserving. And usually the winners are people that everyone likes because they can set this scene, and they can tell the tale that makes this person seem like a good guy. In Big Brother, the producers don't get that. The producers have to go with it on the fly, because literally the show is being cast out onto the internet 24/7. Everything that we do in the house is being watched. There's cameras in the bathrooms. There's cameras everywhere, So, it's a lot different. So the narrative isn't always there of like, here's the good guy. The good guy should win at the end of the season. So it's very different. But yeah, that's one of the beautiful things is watching humans interact. You're watching hamsters in a cage interact with each other. I think the best part about Big Brother is that I'm a scientist. I get to sit and watch my little puppets move around about and see how they interact with each other, see how human nature really happens. That's what I like about Big Brother, I guess.
I think the part that trips me out the most about it, and yeah, I said trips me out, but I'm in California, deal with it. The part that really blows my mind about it is the psychological effect that happens to the contestants once they're in this house. Because, all you've got is whatever production gives you and whatever they create for you. But then there's you playing against everyone else. And it's just amazing the way, for example, intimidation just seems to play out week by week, depending on who is, quote unquote, in charge through the head of household.
Yeah, and there's no so we get no books, there's no outside connection with the world. You can have a religious text if you want. I brought a Bible just because I'm a reader. I'm not, but that's a thing, is literally you are matching wits with every single person day to day. 24 hours you have to spend with these people that you've never met before, where you're from all different walks of life, and you have to sit and try to figure out how you're gonna maneuver around these different people. It is really weird that, say on my season, I was in a showmance with a girl named Amanda, and everyone was afraid of Amanda. And it's not like she had any real power at any point in the game. She just had really good connections with a lot of people that were in power, and we kind of walked through the game for a good portion of it, just kind of intimidating people. It's really odd. It's an odd show.
Yeah, well, that's what happens though when you lock people in basically a very large closet. And I think the other thing too that may happen, and maybe you can enlighten me on this as well. But when you're in that environment, now, folks, for those of you that have never seen it, it's very simple. A lot of the walls in this house have mirrors because there's cameras behind them. There are mechanical cameras on posts mounted to the ceiling, walls, everywhere, all the time. So I'm sure while you're just sitting there trying to exist, for example, you probably hear a camera shift and move.
Oh, yeah.
And that's going to impact you to a level of paranoia, because you're like, okay, so wait, did they just turn it on me? I don't want to look to see if they turned it on me, but did they turn it on me? Why are they turning it on me? What else is going on that they need this still of me? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So does that play into it?
Absolutely. I mean, some people, you can tell when they know the camera's on them, they kind of light up, they kind of get that it factor. Oh, now I'm going to be like, I'm going to play it up for America. But then there's other times, I mean, like, you can hear a cameraman behind the wall coughing. Like, that is disturbing almost, when you just hear someone coughing, you're like, well, who is, it's just weird. But I mean, sometimes, but other times, like, there's a point in the game where the cameras fall away. Like, everything falls away, where you forget that you're on TV, especially with my season. My season's known as like the racist season. We are the shame of Big Brother. But, and again, that's maybe why it was so a crazy season. But, you forget about the cameras. Day 80 something, I like walked out of the shower just completely naked, and then like realized I'm on TV, like, and then I ran back in, and that's out there. You can see that. If I don't do it, you're going to be shocked and horrified. But there's definitely naked pictures out there of me. Like, and I felt like I was the most, because I was like the biggest fan of the show on my season. So I was super aware of the cameras and stuff like that. But there's a point where you kind of just forget about it, and, everything becomes real. Like, no one's playing it up for the cameras anymore. This is how people truly feel.
My favorite part of the game is every time people get upset that other people have to leave, because fundamentally speaking, folks, this show is just like Survivor. It's 10 little Indians, and the last one standing wins the big prize. So, I mean, I guess the best thing to say is that, the only thing you could hope is that maybe you get to the end with one other person, or in this case now it seems like you always get to final 3, and now you're all on part of the sequestered till live show. But I don't know, it just kind of kills me. It's like, do you guys realize what you're saying? Because, like, at least in a given season, 10 other people got to go.
Yeah, 100%. Like, And that's the weirdest thing is like everyone that sits on their couch, like I've been there, I sat and like, why are you crying? Stop crying. Like they have to go. Otherwise you're not going to win. Like what? But there's something that is it breaks your psyche. Once you are in there with these people 24/7, and this is all you know, it quickly becomes a metaphor for life. You're born into this world. You don't know what you're doing. You're swimming around. You're talking to people. You don't know. You start to gravitate towards certain people, you know, and walking through that door, being on the chopping block is literally your life is on the line. Not literally, but figuratively, your life is on the line. And a lot of times it feels 100% like that. You don't know what is through that door when you walk out. That is like dying, essentially. You don't know what happens after you die. You don't know what you're going to go see. And for whatever reason, it becomes heightened in there. I can't describe it so that anyone can ever understand it, but it's 100% real. I cried like a little baby when Judd got evicted. My good friend in the house, I cried on national television, just tears, just ugly crying. And I ran into the photo booth and I was covering my face and everyone was consoling me. It's like, who is this person? I mean, like, there is something about that. There's something about again, Dr. Will stated recently that every single Big Brother contestant comes out of there with PTSD. I'm not trying to say, oh, it's as bad as war or anything like that, but it's psychologically scarring. It really is. And people do come out with just like, just different. And that's a part of the reason why it is almost like dying, you know. But once you walk through those doors, you know, everyone takes it differently. I don't know. It sounds stupid as hell to say. I feel like such a jackass, but I mean, it's real. I think it's 100% real. When you put people in that psychological like war zone, you know, there's gonna be scars. Yeah.
I think the one thing that I'm kind of shocked in 18 seasons that they haven't done yet, because this to me would be great if they could get one ex-Navy guy that has been like served time on a submarine. I bet you that guy would just dominate the game.
I mean, I'm well, and the thing is that I'm sure that those people have, you know, tried out. I'm sure they've got pretty far in casting, but casting is a very rigorous thing where you have to take psych evaluations. You have to take like answer 800 questions, like surveys and stuff like that, just to make sure you're not a lunatic, you know.
Well, especially by the time you came into it at season 15, because we had already seen
season 2 Justin Seabrook with the knife to the throat of that girl. Amazing, legendary. Yeah, of course, there's been plenty of instances of people getting very physical on the show, other people fearing for, you know, their safeties, and there's been a handful of instances where Big Brother's had to pull people off the show because either they like broke mentally or because they were like threatening violence, and it's super serious, and Big Brother takes it very, very seriously, as they should. But yeah, this game does break you down. It really does.
Well, yeah, when you isolate people and I mean, because really every one of you is having to determine and then figure out the mental game you're going to play, because you got to get to point. Like Dr. Will is one of my he's one of my all-time favorite players of the game.
Yep.
And it's not for the reason everyone may think. It's because during his initial season, I mean, he was very upfront with everyone. He told every single contestant almost at every point, I'm going to say anything to win. I will lie straight to your face. And because he did get to the end, everyone acknowledged, I hate him, but he was honest with us from the get-go, and he played the best game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, Dr. Will is worth note just because one of my favorite parts of his first season, season 2, was that he got everyone together and he was like, let's have let's just fast. We'll all fast together. It'll be good for all of us. We'll all fast. So then there was a group of people that were like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. Let's fast. So he knew right away that those people were all sheep, that he could tell them whatever and they were going to follow him. The people that went against that and didn't want to fast, he knew that those people were going to be stubborn and that he had to get those people out. That is just beautiful. I mean, that's just working the human psyche and using it to your advantage. Again,
not only
diabolical.
that season that he went into, for those that don't know, it was like I said at the beginning, that was a major change. So he factored out a game plan. I don't know if they had told him,
I'm
in the
curious about
tryout
that.
section,
Yep.
how much the game was changing, because he's gone on record and said that before he did get selected and before he went into the house, he actually sat down and did map out. I'm not sure if it was his brother or somebody else,
Mhm.
but sat down and they did work out everything that he should do, including setting up a division of people and doing this and doing that. I mean, to a level that I wouldn't expect going into something that in the previous season had just been almost absurd in a way. I mean, there was a point in the first season where one of the contestants was trying to talk the four remaining ones into walking out all at the same time. He firmly believed the rules would let them do that.
See, so what we're talking about is the first season is America voted. America voted for the winner. It was more akin to the UK version of Big Brother, where the general public votes for who they think is the best and who should win and who goes home. So that was the season 1 format. By season 2, they switched it to inside the house. That's who votes each other out, and the jury of the people voted out will end up selecting the winner, more akin to Survivor. So it's absolutely incredible that Dr. Will, not knowing that the game was going to kind of change like that, but goes in with this like really ridiculous gameplay and really sets the tone for the rest of the seasons to come, just of people trying to reach his pinnacle of amazingness, I guess.
Yeah, and there are people that have tried. That's the other thing that's about this game that's kind of interesting to me. As I've said, the psychological aspect of it is really what draws me in. But the other thing I love about it is also seeing the way that people break down on the show.
Oh yeah, it's
because
awesome.
of the isolation.
Absolutely, that's half the fun.
The only thing I have to ask you, though, is because I think everyone that is familiar with you knows you were evicted from the house, quote unquote. By the way, I love the terminology they still stick to. Like, it's a real fucking house.
Yeah, it's not a house.
It is folks, this is a soundstage that has a house built into it. That's what it is.
You can't really call it a house. I mean, literally, you look up and you just see like crappy tile, like ceiling tiles and stuff. Like, that's the one thing that they never show you is the ceiling, because it looks like dog shit. Like it's there's microphones just hanging down everywhere. It's a soundstage essentially.
Yep. And I actually I don't even remember what season it was now. I think it was the first season that Marcellus was hosting house calls on CBS.com. God, that's a number of years ago. But I got to go to the live finale. It was the same season with basically there was the blonde sheriff and the crazy Native Americanish girl or Hispanic girl that were the final two. And I bring this up because that was the first case where Big Brother got really extremely decisive. And there are people that more than likely left that house discovering that there's people they don't even know in this world that really hate them. And that's kind of something that probably happened with your season as well. Like it happened to Spencer and who else?
Again,
anyway.
Yes, we are the racist season. So the lead up to our season was like the Paula Deen, everyone found out that Paula Deen was saying all this really bad stuff about black people or whatever, and we didn't ever know about that because we were sequestered. So then like that kind of leads into our season, and everyone's on this heightened like racial sensitivity, as they should be, and so we had people that I literally would tell them all the time, you guys can't say that. We're on TV. Like, if you do not wash your hands, people will get on you on Twitter. If you don't wash your hands after going to the bathroom.
Dude, leave Jerry alone. Leave Jerry alone.
Yeah, or Chef Joe. Yeah, I mean, like, if you do not wash your hands, you will hear about it forever after the show. Like, you will nonstop get hate. And so people would not believe me. People were like, oh yeah, like anyone's watching, like they didn't realize that they were getting watched 24/7, and people would just start spouting off, just saying bad stuff. Yes, when we came out, This has never been done before in Big Brother history, I don't believe. But when we came out, we had like a debrief essentially where they sat us down. But it was different in our case because they were like, all right, McCrae, Candace, Howard, you know, like the people that really didn't say anything bad, they were like, here, this is your debrief. Like, you know, you are going to get some bad stuff, but you guys didn't say anything really bad. So you're probably going to be okay. But for other people like Aaron, for Spencer, for Amanda, for Gina Marie, they had a very, very different debrief where it was like, do not go on social media. You are going to get hate. Amanda, Aaron, Gina Marie, you're going to have secret security guards with you as you guys get on the plane to go home because there are lunatics out there right now. Like, we are the most hated cast of all time, essentially. And that's like the hate is real. Even to this day, I still get people on Twitter hating on me. Oh, why don't you deliver me a pizza boy? Just all sorts of just madness where it's like, that doesn't hurt me. What does that even mean? Like nonstop hate. It's very real.
And that season I'm talking about too, I was kind of shocked that after the show, so it got over and we all, you know, everyone just, the audience just kind of filters out of the sound stage basically. And as I was walking out, that second place contestant whose name I cannot remember at this moment, she was just walking right by me with no one around her. And honestly, the way that season shook out at the time, I thought, well, that's a little concerning. You know, she should really have somebody with her. And didn't she just come out of a submarine basically? So that kind of brings me to my my one point that I wanted to. So you were evicted on your season, meaning he either goes home or he goes to the jury house, depending on what time, and the jury decides who wins, just like Survivor in a way. But but here the jury has to be sequestered, which sucks. Anyway. But the thing I wanted to ask you about, so essentially you go from this weird sheltered world where you're inside of the people aquarium. And now Julie has just said by a vote of whatever to whatever, McCrae, you have been evicted. You have 1 minute to say your goodbyes, gather your belongings, and get the fuck out. At which point then what happens, for those of you who aren't familiar, there is a very short hallway with two doors. One is the front door of the house. The other is the door from the studio into the house. More to the point, the stage. So you then walk out from this isolated bubble and you have the gut punch. Well, $500,000, not going to be mine. Not even getting the $50,000 concession prize.
Probably not going to get America's Favorite Player, which is $25,000 also.
Yeah, so there's lots of options in winning. But what is that experience like where suddenly you're walking out? Because when you went in the house, there was fuck all in the studio except Julie Chen and any contestants. Yeah.
Well, yeah, they also have like a live audience for that. But the way that I operate is like I like black out. Something else takes over me. Like that's how I do all my interviews. That's just who I am. Like for whatever reason, like I just black out. Like I don't know what's happening. So like when we walk out on stage for the very first time, you know, I see people that are excited, they're screaming, hollering. I'm just trying to be like, yeah, cool, Big Brother, I'm excited. Like, let's get in this house. Because I don't want to see people. I don't want to know about for whatever reason. Same thing when I walk out, you know. It's I don't even remember. I don't even remember anything, but I remember that people were like, "We love you," like saying stuff like that, and I was like, "Why? I'm McCrae. You guys are idiots." But like, you know, it's just Julie's there. I'm talking to Julie. I'm just saying like it's something else takes over my body, and words just come out. I don't know who it is. I don't know what it is. I just start saying stuff. The one big thing is I'm like, "Oh, just don't cry. Just do not cry on stage like a little baby." Like that's. But I was in a really good mood. I kind of got blindsided. I knew it was coming to me. So I was in a very decent mood. I was happy to see Julie. I was happy to see the people that were just excited about me. But then it's like, again, it's just black. They just start to take you into a different room. Then you get debriefed again. The psychologist comes in and is like, oh, well, here's your quirks, and this is why you have these quirks. And it's like, okay, that's weird. It's so very strange. I just cannot even, like, I'm sitting in this like boardroom essentially. There's a picture of Zingbot. If you know Big Brother, Zingbot is like this mascot essentially. It's like Zingbot crossing the Potomac River as George Washington. And then there's this lady telling me, like, you keep on saying, I don't know. And the reason you say it is because you actually do know, but you don't want to commit. Like, and it's like, what the hell is happening? Like, what is my life right now? You know? And I just know that there's a bunch of people out there that just watch me and like me for whatever reason, idiots. It's so very bizarre. I went outside for a cigarette, you know, just because, like, I'm a smoker. Don't smoke, kids. But I go out for a cigarette, and then one of the big boss producers, who is known as the voice of Big Brother, the guy that does all the recordings of The Voice. I don't know why his name is escaping me right now, but he comes over and he sits down next to me, and, like, I'm smoking, and he's like, you know, you played a hell of a game. Like, you really gave a show out there, and that's all we can ask for. And that's when it just started, like, crying, like, I'm a little baby, but that moment I'll always point to. And, like, well, that dude who's a producer who, like, owns the show essentially, like, he said I did a good job. I'm sure he says that to every person, but I'm going to try to, like, I love it. I'll take it and I'll believe it. Yeah, I don't know.
McCrae, please come to the diary room.
Yeah. And, like, a good way to, if anyone's looking to get cast, that was one of the things. I saw him in the interview process early on, and I was like, Don Woolman, that's his name. I was like, Don Woolman, holy, I'm in the presence of a god. Like my, because we get, they fly us out to California to do, like, the casting, like, more in-person casting. So, like, during one of these big producer meetings, I was like, Don Woolman, oh my God, like, it's a pleasure. Like, this is the one thing that, like, if I don't even get on the show, I can always point to this moment. I was like, Don, can you give me a McCrae? Stop that. And he was like, McCrae, stop that. And then, like, I was like, my trip's complete. I don't even care if I get on the show at this point. Yeah. So Don freaking Woolman, great dude. Big shout out.
That is just messed up, though. I mean, I would have expected that they would have psychologists on hand to say, okay, you've just been through this experience, you were in this bubble, then you were in front of a live audience, and Julie Chen asked you questions. I'm sure you got a lot of emotions, and now, like, if you're a jury house member, you're going to have to go to this house, and it's going to feel more like real life, but you don't really get to talk to, I would expect them to, like, treat you and help you, but not just say, like, okay, well, you've got these quirks and this is how you're psychologically messed up.
And, like, again, like, I'm still in blackout mode. I definitely think that they kind of were like, this is what's gonna happen. They kind of, like, help you through it. I think that me and the psychologist had, like, a pretty tight bond. I think that she knew what I could take, and she knew where to kind of lead me and how to deal with me, I guess. So she comes in. The casting director, Robin Cass, big shout out to Robin Cass, Mama Cass. She comes in, and she, like, oh, you did great. She tells you all this stuff. The big boy producers come in, they kind of, like, run you through. And so, like, CBS is pretty nurturing when it comes to that. Like, they're not going to just leave you hanging in those regards. But yeah, I mean, I didn't even get to go to the jury house. Because I was evicted so late in the game. I go straight to sequester with everyone else that goes straight into a hotel room essentially for a week, which is a miserable, miserable week. Just thinking about all the shoulda, coulda, wouldas. Yeah, I don't know. They take care of you to a degree, but it's like, how much can they really, hold your hand through the process?
I always feel bad for the people that get a vote. They're evicted like they're the fourth. Like this week, we've got, I think, 2 evictions happening one day after the other. And near the end of the game, it's literally like somebody gets evicted, and the very next day, the winner is being decided. So it's like you just get punted to a hotel, and you don't get to, because for those of us that have watched it, this jury house, usually they pick some house in the Hollywood Hills or, I don't know, Arizona or wherever the hell it is.
Yeah, Mexico at one point. Yeah, very lavish, very ritzy.
Big kitchens and giant pools with water effects. And then
debauchery, off-camera debauchery, like, oh yeah, the stories that people tell from jury house, it makes me just piss. Where it's like, I could have been evicted maybe 1 week earlier, went to the jury house, had some fun, but I'll take 4th place over 5th place. That's fine.
Well, and let's not mince words. There is a certain per diem in play, so being able to stay in the game as long as you can is helpful.
Yeah, okay. Sorry about that. I live in a flop house. It's goddamn animals out here. But I mean, the thing about it is it's not per diem. Like we do not make per diem. We make stipend. So like stipend is weekly or whatever. So the joke of it all really is that as soon as you make it to once the jury starts, you automatically make the 13 grand. So like it's $1 grand every week leading up or whatever to jury, and then once you make jury, it's automatically the 13 grand, which is like 13 weeks essentially of the show. So even then, you're not making a per diem. You're still just making $1,000, but you get to live in a little bit better house without cameras up your ass. So it's yeah. There's no benefit to really staying to 4th to 5th. Like there's no, just except for in numbers game, I guess. But I mean, yeah, that's the kind of thing. Like I'm a fan. I wish I would have saw the jury house, but as a fan, I guess it's good that I didn't, I don't know. It's one of those things. And I feel especially bad for Spencer, who had to sit in the house with boring ass Andy and Gina Marie for 1 whole week, listening to their dumbasses, and then he gets voted out 3rd place. Like that's a real pisser. Shit. I don't know.
It could be a vicious game. In some ways, it's kind of, I don't want to say beneficial or good, because in some ways it's bad. And I'm sorry, I didn't expect us to talk so heavily about Big Brother.
Oh, this is all inside baseball. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So for everyone who's just like, where's my usual NetHeads? Hopefully Trent and I will record on Sunday. But for those of you that love Big Brother, I'm so happy that we were able to pull back the curtain here a little bit. But the thing that I wanted to say is, how do you feel? Because it wasn't as heavily in play your season, which is only 3 seasons ago, right?
Yep.
As much as this season. I mean, I have, for those of you that aren't frequent viewers, what happens on this show occasionally, used to be like 2 times a year per season at most, people that have been evicted from the house get the opportunity to come back in. And this season alone, one of the people that is in the final 5 now, I think, last 5 people in the house, has actually been evicted from the house twice.
Yeah, which is insanity.
I mean, how do you feel about this type of thing? Because I mean, really, it's a difficult game staying in the house. It's probably a very difficult game getting people out of the house.
Yep. It would piss me off, I guess, if I was in the house. The thing about they did this with my season also. They brought someone from jury house that's kind of a later in the game scenario. That they brought one of those people back in the house. I knew it was going to happen just because I'm a fan of the game. I know that they take they kind of like this happened on Big Brother Canada 1. So on Big Brother Canada 1, they took someone from the jury and brought them back into the game. I was like, I bet they're going to take something from Big Brother Canada 1. And sure enough, they did bring someone back from jury. And I pretty much counted out the weeks and I figured it out. I knew that someone was coming back, and I knew that my boy Judd was going to come back. And Judd's a person that comes back with a vengeance. He's not going to be friends and kisses and happiness and gumdrops. Like, he's going to come back in with a vengeance. So I knew that was going to happen. I didn't plan for it better. I didn't stick with my gut. I should have, but that's the thing is literally I've heard the people on this season, they kind of expected that someone was going to come back the first time. So Victor came back, Victor comes back the second time, but even Victor himself was like, I think that I'm going to come back a second time. Like, I think there's going to be an opportunity for me to come back a second time. That's one of those things where it's like, if you can count the weeks out of okay, well, we only have this many weeks left. There's only these many people left. Someone's got to come back. Something's got to happen where someone's going to get saved. If you are in tune enough with a game, you should be able to figure this out. And half the battle of being in the house is playing against production, playing against their twists. That's usually a staple to all Big Brother seasons, is they have some new twist, whatever it is, so you have to be ready on your toes for any twist. That makes a good Big Brother player. So it's one of those things. I think that I like Victor. I mean, him coming back, he's won his way back both times. I think that's impressive in and of itself. And to me, it's like I'd be pissed if I was in the house, but at the same time, you got to give it to the dude for he just keeps on winning his way back. That's awesome.
And that's an interesting point to bring up, because that's both a plus because you're back in the game, but it's a detriment. Now, I'm going to get really Big Brother talky here, folks. I'm very sorry. I know I keep apologizing, but
It's just going to be a nonstop apologies. Yeah.
Yeah. But seriously, this is one of the things that happens with this show is that every time we get into September, it's kind of like I think they pretty much just say, okay, well, we've got all this stuff happening, so we'll let the show play out to here, and they'll pick a date, or it always feels thrown together at the very end.
Absolutely.
But the thing that kills me about it is when you've got somebody like this, like Victor, who's come back in, and now we've got this accelerated timeline. Do you think that the people in the house realize that Victor needs to be the next one to go? He and Paul should be the two targets of everyone else in the house right now, because
absolutely,
if you're sitting next to one of those people,
you're probably not going to win. I mean, there's something to be said about it also comes down to like what kind of convincing you can do during your final speech. Like, if you could convince a jury to be like, this guy's had how many chances? He's been evicted twice. I haven't been evicted once. Like, so there's something to be said about him getting evicted twice, where it's like, dude's had so many chances. Like, of course he's going to get to the end. Well, like, I've had 0 chances and I kicked ass the whole way. But at the same time, it's like, oh, well, I've been booted out once. I won my way back through all these different people, booted out again, and I still won my way back through all these people. There's something to be said for both people. What it really comes down to is the jury, how bitter they are, how, if you've wronged them in any way, they might use it against you. And that's another beautiful piece of Big Brother, is that a jury can swing either way, whether it be bitter or whether it be, rewarding for crazy gameplay. I don't know.
No, let's think about this, because in order to let's translate it to something everyone else may be able to relate to. So here's what's going to happen. McCrae and I are working in the same office, all right? In order to make sure I get the promotion, I have to make sure I get McCrae out of the office. At the same time, I need McCrae's approval to get the promotion as well. So I need to figure out a way to get him out of the house and still have him like me.
Yep.
Now
and
that's
pretty
where,
much, yeah.
And that's where I think your gameplay kind of got really good. You first of all, you did the one thing that I think is one of the underspoken parts of the game, and that is where you successfully stay off the radar. That is a really prime thing. Heavy duty like I can always tell. It doesn't even matter the way it's edited. I can always tell who's going to be the first person evicted out of the house by what we see when they're in the round table getting to know everybody, and the way they talk in those diary room sessions in the beginning. Because it's always the heavy-duty player that gets booted first. So staying low on the radar is good. However, also had the benefit of, and I really do think of it as a benefit. Unfortunately, when you get involved in a relationship on Big Brother, which they've coined the term for that, a showmance, it puts a target on your back, because now you're a power of two. You're not a 1 vote, you're 2, basically.
Yep.
And I'm sure going into this, did you expect anything like that to happen? You're like,
Never in a million years. I told all the producers up and down, like, I'll do a showmance. I'll do anything to make the ratings better. Just put me on the damn show. Like, it doesn't matter. I was willing to do anything. Never in a million years did I think I would get into a showmance, because that is rule number 1. Don't do that. Don't get into a showmance, because it'll screw up your game. But it's one of those things for me where I was like, well, no one's ever done it before, so I'd be a legend if I did it, like it could turn out really good for me. The dynamic, and when I first picked up Amanda, I mean, she was very abrasive, but at the same time, she had a cunning game strategy. Like, she never really watched the show, but she picked up on it faster than anyone else in that house. She was a strategist. Excuse me. And I was like, okay, well, this person I could work with. This seems like this could be doable. I never thought that I'd be in a showman's, but the way that the showman's happened and the way that the showman's played out, it really was beneficial to me. As much as people will say that, oh, you slept in bed with Amanda all day and blah blah blah. Yeah, I did, but also at the same time, Amanda was the attack dog. I was like the person that was holding the leash, I guess. Probably not to people in the a more apt description of it is I played good cop, she played bad cop, where I would come in with the sweet, I would come in with the, like I like she's just crazy, like sorry guys, like I would always be. And you ask anyone in that house and everyone loved me the whole entire time, and I was with like the biggest bitch on the show that everyone hated, but they would always be like, well, McCrae's just on McCrae, he just does whatever Amanda says. And like, not necessarily, because behind closed doors, I would be like, what the fuck? What are you doing? Stop. Like, there's millions of times where I had to just be like, Amanda, stop. What are you doing? Why? Well, like, you're screwing up the whole game. But that's kind of like, that's one of those things where it's like, you don't know what position you're going to be in when you get into the game. You just have to like adapt. Adapting is huge in winning the game. You just have to be able to adapt as fast as you can on your feet. And I think that I adapted the good cop, bad cop roles for both of us really, really quickly. And I think that definitely benefited my game.
I think so too. And really, it all comes down to gaming techniques as well. You basically had a meat shield is what you had.
Yes, exactly.
She was your warrior and you were just back there like casting lightning bolt. You know what I mean?
Lightning bolt.
Or you were casting mana to her and you're like, okay, there you go. That'll help. Go ahead. Keep going.
Yeah. She was my figurehead. I was in the back, making in the smoky back room, making the deals. That's how I always felt about it.
And I think the nice thing about it too, when you look at the way it played out, and this is the thing I don't think most people realize. Going into that house, I would imagine there is a major summer camp component that is kind of in play, wherein you're in this isolated scenario with the same people day in and day out, and somehow you've got to find somebody that you enjoy spending time with, or else you're going to be one of the next ones out the fucking door.
Yep. You're going to get antsy. You're going to get agitated. You're going to start saying stuff to people that you don't necessarily mean. You start to rub off on people the wrong way. Having someone that you can just like spill all this, like, oh, I fucking hate this person. I hate this person. It really, really helps. Especially like, because other people will spill everything to everyone. It's definitely a summer camp thing, and I definitely played it. I definitely enjoyed it like it was summer camp, which most people will say to my detriment. But again, I had a great summer. Shit.
Well, dude, let's put this into reality term. McCrae, and this is the thing I loved about your season. Your occupation before going into the house as a contestant was what?
Pizza boy, proud pizza boy.
So he was delivering pizzas or making pizzas or whatever with pizzas. So there was heavy pizza, pizza delivery. So the question is, for the time that you spent in the house, which way would you have made more money? Sitting at home delivering pizzas, or being on national television in a house where they bring you all the food, no rent, no car payment, or like no gas payments? I mean, it's pretty much like boarding school, like everything is paid for. It doesn't matter. Nothing matters. You get free food. Like to me, it was always like, this is insane. Like I'm having ahi tuna whenever the hell I want. Like that's insane to me. Like I've never had this treatment before. And to me, I was like, I'm going to enjoy all this. I'm going to sleep all the time. Who gives a shit? Like, I don't know. Like it was summer camp essentially, because literally my life sucked before Big Brother. My life sucks after Big Brother. But like during Big Brother, it was like I had the most ritzy treatment there ever was. I was a kid in a candy store essentially. But the only thing that happens is that you basically have to exchange part of your privacy for that. That's the bad thing.
Yeah. I mean, and it depends on who you are. I'm a person that I don't give a shit. I like, it doesn't matter. Like, again, I walked out naked, when I walked out naked out of the shower, I immediately went back or whatever, toweled off, whatever, put my clothes on, and I went to DR immediately, diary room. Went to the diary room, and I was like, were the live feeds on when I walked out of the shower? And my DR producer's like, there's two ways you can take it. You can take it where, and like immediately as he says that, I'm like, okay, well, it's 100% on there. And it's like, I don't care if it's on there, but I just want to kind of know what to prepare for when I come out. Like, I don't care. Does not matter to me if everyone saw me naked. Like, I don't care. I just want to kind of know if that's what happened. That is what you give up, but if you're a person like me that's a trash lord, like, it doesn't matter. Nothing matters. You're getting free food.
I think my favorite part about you being cast is much in the same way that Matt Hoffman is cast, or like Andy from Andy isn't exactly the best.
Let's not talk about him.
Yeah. Well, because anyway. There are certain people that fall into casting stereotypes on the show.
Absolutely.
And the people that don't, those are the ones that I always remember. That's why I remember Matt Hoffman. That's why I remember you, because you represent normal people in
normalcy.
It's like, and my favorite thing, your season, by the way, that I've neglected and saying 3 times now, is the fact that people didn't take the Pizza Boy story at face value.
Yes.
Like, they thought you were some mad genius just playing up.
That is like one of the best parts. That is an ego stroker for sure. When I watched that part back, we're talking about there's a part where it's like, I get up, I'm like, hey, I'm McCrae, I'm from St. Francis, Minnesota, I'm a proud delivery pizza boy and pizza, whatever the fuck. And then like they cut to a good juxtaposition of people being like, okay, pizza boy, like, I'll believe that when blah, 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 like, you're no pizza boy. He's a science guy from college or whatever the fuck, like, and it's like, that is an ego stroker, because if I give that impression of that I'm a smart motherfucker that delivers pizza, like, I don't know. That is one of my favorite parts about watching the show, is like, just remember that everyone thought your ass was a fucking scientist genius boy,
Exactly. Whereas like, even, and this isn't a knock, dude. I want to.
Oh, please knock me.
But like, the moment I saw you and the way you were dressed, I had the benefit of seeing, the key reveal. So we knew you really were a pizza boy, but still, and God, that sounded wrong. But it was the fact that I saw you and you're just like, oh yeah, totally. That dude looks like he could deliver my pizza. I may have bought weed from him. You just look like a regular guy. And I'm sure, I can't believe that they went, and then there were people that suspected this all the way down the road still. So that's got to work to your advantage in some way, right?
It worked my advantage, but I definitely think that, like, in the beginning moments of the game, that scared me because I could literally see people like talking to each other. The first moments of the game, we get onto these popsicle things. We have to hold on to them for a very long time. We're suspended up in the air, and this is the first competition for head of household, which is the power of the house. You get to put up 2 people to get evicted. So this is like the first power cycle. So when I'm up there, I start seeing like all the big muscular jock guys, like they're talking to each other, they're laughing, they're making eye contact with each other. They're like, right away, I'm like, they're broing down. I can't get into that because already people are suspicious of me. Even that first edit of me on that episode makes me look like I'm a fucking dipshit. Like, I don't know what's going on. But right away, I saw that I was one of these things is not like the other. One of these things just doesn't belong. And that was me. And at that point, I was like, again, another thing, another paradigm of Big Brother is don't win the first head of household. And you know what? I was like, I'm not going home first. I don't give a shit because I know I'll be going up if I don't win. And that's why I just stuck onto that popsicle for like, 4.5 hours or something like that. I would rather die. Like, I'm not going home first. I'd rather die up on this popsicle. Like, I want to make the decision who goes home first. I don't care.
Now, when it came down to it, that's another reason why I was excited to talk to you, man, because I've had a long-standing theory that if you were the first head of household, the only way to do it right, where you could come away without blood on your hands, was just to say, guys, it's early on. We don't know anybody. I put all the keys in the bag. I pulled out 2.
See, that's a very, very good strategy. I like that one a lot. I could have went with that way. I kind of did it the same way, but a little different. My method was more or less, all right, I don't know anyone. No one knows anyone. I'm just going to have every single person come up, tell me 2 names. I'm going to tally those names up, and then whoever's names gets the most votes, I'll put them on the block. Little did they know that I was not going to play that game, and I was going to do whatever the fuck I wanted regardless. And then everyone would have to be like, well, then everyone had to compare notes. And I know no one was ready to compare notes this early in the season.
And that is a good genius alternative.
Yeah, I wouldn't say genius, but
oh no, dude, seriously, it's one of those things. If you're the first head of household, you've got to figure out a way to come out of this so that way you're not next week's target.
Yeah, with blood on your hands. You don't want any blood on your hands, as they say in Big Brother parlance. Yeah.
So to finally put a nail in this Big Brother coffin, and then I'll ask you 2 tech related questions so we can still fall into our
I love
category.
It. No, I'm excited for those.
The first question is, how do you prepare for going into basically this isolation chamber? And then what is it like, let's just say, in the year following having been on a national reality show?
Okay, so the first one is kind of weird because I technically wasn't cast, I guess. I was an alternate. So when they kind of when they do this, oh my god, excuse me, when they do this show, they usually bring in they have their cast. They find, like, they kind of have a good amount of people that, like, what their cast is gonna be. They bring in I believe it's 2 boys and 2 girls for alternates. So say someone gets cold feet, they back out, something happens in the family, they back out, something happens, and then you got to bring up one of these people. I was one of these people that got lucky by the grace of God. I keep on saying God and weird stuff, but it's just one of those things where it was almost destined. It was just fate. Fate aligned herself, and that's literally how I got on the show. So in my head, ever since the very first interview I did to do Big Brother, I was like, there's no way they're going to cast me. There's no way they'll put my stupid ass on this show. And I started getting through more and more casting, more and more interviews, more and more. And every time I'm like, that interview was horseshit. Like, they're never going to put me on. Never going to put me on. And then they call me, oh, you're going to go to California. Go through all those. I'm never going to get cast. And it just keeps going. And then to the point where they're like, oh, well, you're an alternate. We're going to come and film you getting your key, but you're still an alternate. So, like, I'm like, okay, well, I'm never going to get cast. Like, I'm an alternate. I'm going to make $1,000 just for going to California for a week. And then I'll get to come back. I'll get to watch Big Brother and I'll have $1,000. Like, you can't beat that. Like, Big Brother's going to pay me to go there. So I really didn't do much. I didn't study. I mean, I've watched all these seasons in and out multiple times. I started watching seasons again just to kind of like brush up, see what kind of was happening, kind of like make some mental notes. One of the mental notes I did make was like, don't be the center of drama. Don't make a target. Don't start fights. Like, there's no point. Just lay low all the time. And that definitely helped me. But it was one of those things where it's like, if I would have known for sure, I would have done hardcore studying. I would have been like writing in notebooks, like, here's my game plan, all this stuff. But I was just like, there's no way they're going to cast me. I'm dumb. Look at me. I'm an idiot, you know?
Hold on, dude. Wait a second now. This is I got it, because, you know, I watch the show, all right? I don't live the show. I may go to Joker's updates just to see that, because I heard some serious shit happen.
Hamster Watch is better. Go on.
Yeah, that's true. But, you know, Joker's was kind of the original.
I just got to get a shout out for Hamster Watch.
I love Hamster Watch. Actually, when you want to know, when you want to know where everything is, it's the perfect, because it's all just right there, one page. You don't got to scroll. Anyway. But this was at a level I wasn't aware of. So basically, you thought you were just living like the Big Brother dream, because you're technically not cast on the show, but they've still got to do basically the EPK stuff with you, the electronic press kit. They've got to do the key reveal and claim for you.
Yep.
Even though you're technically not cast, or is that okay? You were an alternate. Somebody dropped out. We got to go out to Minnesota and shoot.
No. So like that was one of the things where I was like, well, maybe they're just trying to pull my leg. I've kind of heard from other people previous seasons where like what the kind of the process is, and like a lot of times production will be like, oh, we just got to come by and pick up, do some pickup shots and stuff like that, you know. Like, so I was like, well, maybe they're lying to me, and maybe I will actually be on. So when you see me come out of that thing with my out of the Mancetti's with my key, and I'm just like, whoa, going all crazy and stuff like that, you know. I turned to like the shots or whatever, and I was like, but does this still mean I'm an alternate? And he's like, sadly, yes, it does. And so like in my head, I'm just like, damn it, like it doesn't matter, like I'm still just gonna get $1,000. Like, so it seemed, yeah, they still do all that stuff just in case something happens. And sure enough, something did happen on my season, and it was amazing. I'll take it. I'll take what I can get, you know.
That's kind of like being given a free chip by the casino, and then you broke the bank, dude. So hats off.
I appreciate that.
So then what happens to a reality television star in the 12 months after they've been on? And just try and leave out all of the extreme stuff because you were on quote unquote the racist season ever.
I mean, first of all, when you walk around in public looking like a crazy degenerate like I do, people notice you immediately and are like, holy shit, that's McCrae. Can I get an autograph? Can I get a picture? And I'm a person that's like, I'm a pizza boy. Like, what are you talking about? Like, yeah, of course. Like, you like me for whatever reason? Like, my God, like, of course, I'll do anything for you. You know, so like that's pretty much the first and foremost thing is like people know who you are. Even to this day, people know who I am. And it's a lot more hot and heavy in those first 12 months. Like we went to Universal Studios. We had like, it was me and Amanda and Judd or who's someone, but like we had like a mob forming around us, like clamoring to get to us. And it was like, what life is this? Like, this is not my life. It's super, super weird. You know,
oh my God. But dude, in that situation you're describing, those that don't know, Amanda was a very tall girl.
Amazonian.
Gee, it's funny. I may have heard that term somewhere before, but yeah, she was very tall. So it's just, I'm not surprised that people would notice you guys in public, given your appearance and then the dynamic. And yeah, she was, absolutely. And you know, by no stretch of the imagination, she was an attractive female, so she would already gain attention by that. And then it's just like, oh, wait a second. Basically, I'm sure it's whatever Kevin Smith experiences when he's outside with Jason Mewes, you know?
Oh my God. Well, it kind of, yeah. Like Amanda, I'm probably the Jason Mewes to Kevin Smith's or Amanda's Kevin Smith. I don't know how I guess that dynamic would work, but I mean, the thing about her is that in South Florida, she kind of looks like everyone else, and this was always a huge point of contention in our relationship, where she would get pissed because people will recognize me first, and then they'll be like, "Oh, and that's Amanda." So because I look like a goddamn garbage bag. Like
you do not, dude. You look like half of the guys I grew up with. That's all I'm saying.
But I mean, yeah. So people recognize me right away, and so that's like one of the most outrageous. That's just like weird to me that people recognize me, and I get it because if I was a person out on the streets and I saw someone from Big Brother, I would lose my shit. Like before Big Brother, even after Big Brother, I would be like, "Holy shit, you're Matt Hoffman!" Like, "Oh my God, like, can I get a picture? Can you sign something? Sign my face?" You know, I would be obsessed. So I get it. And then, I mean, you get a lot more social media response. You get a lot more social media play kind of stuff. It's the only reason I have 70,000 people. Like, they don't like me. They're just there for me digging dirt and bullshit. But
that's the other nice thing about Twitter, though, is it doesn't matter who followed you and when, as long as they don't unfollow you, the numbers just grow.
Exactly. Yeah. And so like 12 months, you know, by let's see, I'd say by January, it starts to kind of fall off. Starts to fall off. But as soon as like Big Brother rumors start ramping up, like you kind of fall back onto the map. Like even this season where it's like for a long time at the gas station, it was like maybe every 2 weeks, I got someone that was like, holy shit, that's McCrae. Well, let's take a picture. But as soon as Big Brother starts, like it all ramps up. People's minds like come back to it. And then it's like every day someone's coming up to me, you know? So it's kind of a weird thing. Adam Pock, if you remember Metal Adam, I got none of your listeners, but like he describes it the best way, I think, where he's like, Big Brother, being on Big Brother isn't 15 minutes of fame. It's like 14 minutes and 59 seconds of fame, where that clock will never strike over till you're over. Like people will always see you and will always remember you if you somewhat look like the person you did on that show. It'll never stop, and you will always get someone that says, hey. Kind of weird. I don't know.
Well, you know, even some obscure little podcaster who's just like, dude, I finally want to cash this chip in.
Hey, motherfucker! I followed you before the show, I believe.
You did. I don't know how the hell that happened.
No, I'm a big Smodco fan. I'm a big Kevin Smith fan. I know that you do a lot of fucking good work for the network, and I was like, fuck yeah, I'll give a follow to people that deserve it. Of course,
I'm lucky enough to anyway. So, I guess my other question is there a certain point where you try and figure out, okay, can I parlay what that was into something else so I'm not at the gas station?
Yeah, there's definitely a part that, Nick Uhas from my season, who's very good at like doing YouTube videos. Like that was his whole thing. Like he's very good at that stuff. Like the first thing he told me when he came out is like, hit the ground running, start doing stuff, because now's your time to start doing stuff. I was dumb. I was like, well, whatever. I'm going to go live in Florida with Amanda. Like, I should have moved to LA immediately and tried to like start doing production jobs because I have a video production background. But you get swept up. You get like that 12 months is a fog. Like I was in a fog of days. I didn't know like what was up, what was down. I don't know who's out there to help me, who's out there to hurt me. There is a lot of that stuff. There's a lot of shady people that are trying to get you to do their stuff for free. Like if I had a chance to go back, I would hit the ground running a lot better than I did. I'd be a lot smarter about it, and I wouldn't be in that fog. But I'm a person that, again, like I said, like when I go into interviews, I black out. When I came out of Big Brother house, I was in a blackout for a good, it must have been, it was probably 4 to 5 months. And then the fog started to lift, but never lifted entirely until, maybe 2 years after the show, which is very odd. But again, yeah, I should have hit the ground running, but we're getting there. I'm making, I made a cartoon with Josh, Josh, who you mentioned earlier. Again, yeah, we've been good friends forever, but like we made a cartoon that it was pretty cool. People liked it. So maybe there's something there. Yeah. Again, I've got a video background. So I've got faith. Again, something will figure shit out. That's the way my life works.
And by the way, dude, just so we're very Californian using dude. I always
I said like 1 million times in this episode.
Yeah, I know that's the only saving grace for me. But I don't mean that in any way. As the guy who hosts, and I'll be very straightforward here, in case anybody is wondering about the wonder and glamour about when you hit the ground running and what you do with it after that. NetHeads was lucky enough to premiere on Smodco, on smodcast.com with a plug and a live show immediately preceding it, hosted by Kevin Smith. At the height of the inception of the radio network, just shortly after it, still gaining attention. So we hit the ground running, and I'll be very straightforward. We had like 5,000 plus downloads per episode, which was amazing going from a smaller podcast. And since that time, there has just been natural attrition because, we haven't done anything else that's big and special. We don't have any other champions. So, I'm still a guy that has a regular 9-to-5 job as well, so I'm not saying,
No, of course. And like I was saying earlier, like there's people that come into my gas station. They're like, McCrae, what are you doing here? And it's like, well, I have to make money. Like, I got to make something. Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, just sell my face, sell McCrae money. What the fuck? Like, you have to like, yeah, you don't just get celebrity famous from nothing. Like it's just not in the cards. You guys still got to work. And to me, it makes me more humble. It makes me more honest because there's people that do try to like become actors after the Big Brother thing. And, you know, their heads up their own asses. They're usually the biggest dipshits and they're usually the least down to earth. So, I mean, it's good to be back to the roots, you know. That's how I got there in the first place, and if I ever try to get to the next place, that's the way it's gonna be, I guess. That makes no sense, but
No, it does. Now the question here, God, I can't believe how much I've been able to milk this all this time.
I love it.
Well, you know, it's for me because, you know, look, when the show is on, and sometimes even when it's not on, you know, at least one time during a season, although it hasn't happened this one, and I attribute that to having a toddler because basically I'm not going to sleep again until she's 7.
Yep.
But you know, occasionally I have dreams where I am on the show. You know, and it's not any particular cast and it's not any house you've ever seen because it's a fucked up dream house. But and I didn't live through it. So I guess my question is, after you've been on and you've made it to where you're like fourth in fourth place, you're in there for a really long goddamn time,
84 days.
What happens to you after that? I mean, do you have dreams or nightmares about the house?
Yeah, you consider them nightmares. I like view them fondly when I do have them. But yes, I have dreams you know, probably once a week about being in the house or different like twists that happen to me in the house. It's usually like something I can't control. Something it's very Freudian.
Is this literally like a replay situation too, where it's actual events reoccurring?
No. It's like usually I'll be in there with other people, and it's like one of those things where it's like I don't recognize that it's like I'm playing the game of Big Brother, but like it's like I'm in the Big Brother house, and like now we got to do something. It's just like weird where it's like you kind of know that you're in the Big Brother house while you're in the dream, and that's you gotta evade or evict or, you know, try to like outmaneuver. But I mean, one of the worst things, again, going back to this like PTSD, BB PTSD, is like I sit in my bed and I still to this day I have regrets, and I have like I should have did this. Like you start to play out like, well, if I did this, what would happen then? Then this would happen. Then, you know, like I still play it out to this day. And anyone from Big Brother that says they don't play out some of this shit to this day, they're lying. They have to. It's just one of those things where it's like you have these regrets, or you have the regrets of not doing something or of doing something. It's just you'll always sit and replay what you could have done differently in your head. At least for me, I guess. I can't speak for everyone else, but they're fucking liars if they don't tell you that. Like it's one of those things. Like I'll sit there all night and just like my brain doesn't shut off because I'm still in Big Brother mode to this day. It's weird. Super, super weird.
Well, I'm not surprised though, because I mean, that's a lot of your life that I mean, it's not many of us that experience a different life that we have to live 24/7.
And yeah, that's what it is. It is a different life. Time works differently. Einstein said time is relative, and it especially holds true in the Big Brother house because literally you are with these people 24/7. So we always had the saying that like 1 day equals a week, 1 week equals a month, 1 month equals a year. So like in terms like I spent 3 years with Amanda, like because you've never ever spent 24 hours a day 7 days a week with another person. Like sure, you guys go to work, you got other stuff, you go out to dinner with other people, like you've never spent 24/7 nonstop with persons or people. So time is relative, and time stops in there, and everything slows down, and I don't know. I can't describe it. I don't know.
Well, it's one of those things that I definitely think you cannot describe, nor can you really understand unless you've been in there. Because, you know, it's like in my day-to-day life, I have certain escapes. I'm able to come in here and I'm able to do this. I'm doing work, or my wife and I are able to go to a different room while the toddler's sleeping, and we get to talk, and we get to talk caught up, and we get to interact. But those are all separated. I mean, in a way, though, now I've been working from home now since June. And I guess in sort of a way, I'm kind of living a Big Brother lifestyle, except I do have the option of leaving.
Exactly. And that's the thing is like when you get tired of, your significant other, like just have to take a break from them or whatever, like you can go out somewhere, go do something different. Like, really, that doesn't happen. You don't get to, like, they're always within earshot, essentially, of you talking to someone else. There's no escape in that house. And it's uncomparable. I don't know. Watch the damn show, folks. It's good. It's good fun.
Well, and speaking of which, as we've made it very clear, there's not big money, and that's one thing too. I think that's really important for people to understand, because we live in a really weird time right now, where literally people can have YouTube channels and there's or other things now, and they're able to actually make a living doing this. But I really think that is a few and far between situations. So like, unless you are Kevin Smith or somebody, you're not going to be able to parlay other things into actual revenue models unless you try and be aggressive like it. For example, and I'm interested to get your take on this, because Big Brother is traditionally a summer show. There was one time, and I believe it was during the
season 9.
It was writer's strike time.
Yep.
So they needed to have something on CBS that was unscripted. So they brought Big Brother into the fall, and it
relatively cheap show to make.
It fucked us all up because they're like, this isn't. But they're doing it again, and they're doing something pretty different. And it's a new approach that CBS has been taking. They've been really exploring their off-the-air potential with this CBS All Access. They have in, I think, January, I could be wrong, sometime in the fall winter, there's going to be the premiere of a new Star Trek series set in the original Star Trek universe and continuity, not this rebooted movie stuff. And it's going to have a premiere episode on CBS, and then all subsequent episodes will be on CBS All Access. If that term confuses you guys, just think it's CBS's Hulu. Okay? But they're now going to do a fall season of Big Brother, and it's only going to happen on CBS All Access.
Yep. Oh, shoot. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are worried about it. A lot of like former house guests are kind of like, this could be the death of Big Brother as we know it. To me, I don't know. I can't complain with more Big Brother. I'll take it, I guess. The thing that I like about it is that they're not on TV. Because I was a person that a lot of times they'll ask you like, what do you want most out of Big Brother? Do you want fame? Do you want the money? Or do you want the pride of the win? And like, to me, I'm a person that's like, I want to win the game. Like I could care less about the money. I could care less about the fame. Like I want to be the winner. Like it's, like I want to win this game. So it's one of those things where you're almost taking away one of those aspects by just only putting it on the internet. Like, I don't care. I don't care if no one sees it. Like, it's a game where I'm still competing against all these other people in this house under these set terms and conditions. Like, again, I don't care about America. I'm here to like kick some ass and like try to outmaneuver people. That's the way that I like it, and hopefully it kind of gets rid of some of these like fame whores that annoy me. I like it. To me, bring it. Let's go. I say, yeah, bring us more Big Brother. Let's go. And the thing is that Survivor has 2 seasons a year. Like Big Brother could do 2 seasons a year. I would love that. It's a lot to take in. Big Brother's 3 times a week. There's just a lot to it. But at the same time, I don't know. I just think that give more people an opportunity to play the game, because the game is what's special about Big Brother. It's not the TV. It's not the edit. It's not anything like that. The romance, the showmance, the money. It's the letting humans be humans to win money. I love that. I don't know.
I'm with you on that one. I'm actually with you on that. My only thing I wonder is if these people, when they were cast, knew they were going to be in this new special app-based version of Big Brother.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious. I'm not. I mean, that'd be a good way to like the old bait and switch. Like, oh, you're going to be on Big Brother. Like, oh, I'm going to be on TV. Like, no, not TV, but you will be on Big Brother. I liked it.
here's the thing that I'm surprised about this, because if I'm going to go through the expense
Mhm.
of producing this show in a fashion where the revenue is just coming to us and it's not sponsor driven,
Mhm.
I'm going to try and stack the deck. I'm surprised we haven't heard about it being. I'm surprised they didn't try and cash in on an all-star season, except for the fact that I really think that the number of people that are willing to return is actually exponentially shrunk. I don't think there are many people that want to go back in now.
That's definitely a tough subject, just because when you bring in all-stars, when you bring in people that have played before, a lot of them are going to have conditions like, I want 50,000 up front. I want 5,000 each week that I'm there. Like, that's what people are saying that Nicole and James from this season have been paid. But and that's why a lot of people say they'll never be an all-star season, is because the expectation for returning people is too high. But it would make sense for them to bring in all these people just so people have to buy all access just to watch their favorite players. So it's kind of a catch-22 for CBS when it comes to that. The thing about it is, like, me, it's like, I'm stupid. I'm the stupidest motherfucker alive. Like, I'll go back for less money, longer period of time. Like, I'll eat slop. I don't give a shit. Like, I want to play the game again. Like, I want to play the game. Like, I'm not a person that's going to, like, try to, again, I'm a dipshit. I'm not going to negotiate, like, oh, like, just give me what you gave me last time. I'll go back and play. Who gives a shit? Like, $1,000 a week is still amazing money for me. I'll take that all day.
Just bring it. Come on, man. Bring it.
Yeah,
Bring
exactly.
it on.
I'll make it some entertaining TV shit.
Well, I guess that answers my question, because I was going to ask if given the chance, would you go back in? Knowing what you know now, though, if it were this all access version, what are they calling it? It's Big Brother.
Is it Over the Top?
Yeah, that's what it's called.
I think it's Over the Top. Yeah. So that's
because they can't get away with that, and fans of the show would be interested in this, because the same type of evictions are still going to happen live, but now everything will just happen live. So you go straight from live show back into the stream.
But I like, there's got to be a caveat to that. Like, it cannot be straight live, like, because there's, like, a lot of times where you're doing you're all right, here's the nomination ceremony. I've picked 2 people. Like, there's, like, scripts a lot of times that you kind of have to read, like, go through all right, here's what you're saying. And me, again, like, I'm a dipshit. Like, I screw up my scripts all the time, and they're like, all right, McCrae, you want to do it again? And I'm like, well, all right. Like, and I just do goofy faces, so it's like, they can't have it live. I think this is, like, kind of this thing that they're selling, but I'm curious to see, like, how live it's actually going to be. It's one of those things where it's like, I feel like they're selling some bullshit here.
It does make you wonder, because, like, if we take just what happened on one of the recent episodes. So in order for the Power of Veto competition, so every time 2 people get nominated, then there's a competition, and you could win the opportunity to take somebody down from nomination and somebody else goes up. Just think of it as a weekly immunity idol if you're a survivor person, but you get to play it after you've been, like, put up by the tribe or whatever. I'm horrible at analogies. Hell with me. And so much so I forgot where I was going with this. Oh, anyway, the Power Veto. So in this week's episode, they had an interesting thing where they were tying in, because they're CBS, with MacGyver. So the veto competition, it was basically a problem-solving competition. You had to navigate your way through 2 puzzles and 1 physical activity, essentially. But it was MacGyver themed, so you had to find stuff in the room to do the thing. Watching that competition edited, we just see the people go down, somebody reads a script, they then start, they go through their steps, people are watching. If they didn't win, they show up upstairs blown up, and then they watch the next person. And so already, well, they got to go through makeup and wardrobe to get blown up and dressed up. They've got to do this. And also, one of the things we saw, if you paid close attention, because living in California, I do, because I'm always wondering, like, oh, what was the weather like in LA that day?
Hot.
We literally saw them go from daylight, where they started the competition. By the time James went in, it was clearly transitioning to evening night. So that would not play out well on the live streams, because it would just be a lot of reset, and
Yep, there's a lot of that kind of stuff, and like that's the thing is like they have very very limited interaction with other people, with other producers, with other crew members and stuff like that. The limitations are there. If any crew is like helping you get into a costume, they are not allowed to talk to you at all. So we pretty much just fuck with them, like, hey, fuck face, like, what are you doing? Blah, blah. Like you just start screwing with them, of course. But I mean, so like Big Brother is good at that, where it's like they keep that interaction very very limited, but at the same time like there is a lot of things that like sometimes a mechanic in the puzzle or in the game goes wrong, and then you got to hold, and then you got some like a bunch of dudes come out with a drill and they just start drilling shit, and then they just run out. It's like they're still gonna have to cut to fishes, is again another term from the live feeds, but they're gonna have to like cut the feed so that you don't see that, or they're gonna show that what is gonna happen.
I think I already know, I can imagine how this is going to play out. So like let's take for example the HOH competition. Jeff from Jeff and Jordan, I can't remember his last name, don't care to, he'll be hosting the HOH competition live show, talk show. So while they're getting set up, he'll be talking to people about things and what they think about gameplay. And this is an interesting competition. They'll bring in somebody to talk about how they built it. Then the next person's up and they're going. That's the old. I guess
I love that. I'll watch that though. That sounds great. Good on them. If that's their plan, like I'll watch that. That sounds good.
Allison, you can take that one for free. You're welcome.
Yeah, Allison, I know you're listening.
Yeah, of course. I'm sure. They've got the constant Big Brother Illuminati monitoring everything.
Exactly. I can't say anything.
So do you? I guess my last question on this over abused topic would be when it finally boils down to it, and you've been out of the house for a while. Do you still have those mornings where you wake up and you have to actually realize, no, wait, I'm not in the house right now?
No, that doesn't happen. That kind of goes away about 3 to 4 months. There's a good portion of time where literally you check your back pocket, because so you always have your lavalier microphone always on you. It's always in your pocket, and like there'll be times where you like kind of feel your collar piece, like, is my microphone on here? It's like, oh yeah, no, I'm not in the Big Brother house. That kind of happens for a long time afterwards. There'll be times when I do have those Big Brother dreams where I wake up and I'm like, where the hell am I? Like, I'm not in the Big Brother house. And like waking up in the Big Brother house is another one of those times where you're like, you wake up at the Big Brother house and like, where the hell am I? Like, what is going on? There's lights that are just going on. I hear weird music and people talking to me. It's so odd. So it's all a very surreal experience. But yeah, I'm over that point, I guess. But every time I do have a Big Brother dream, I wake up and I feel like I'm still in that house for a second.
Well, especially since you had that tangibility, so the reality is probably pretty heavy.
Absolutely.
So most importantly, first of all, anything you want to promote while you're talking to us today?
So I do I do a YouTube show called On the Block. I used to do it with Spencer. Spencer kind of fell off. I kind of am doing it with Jason Roy from last season, but pretty much we get down and dirty and talk about real Big Brother stuff and just kind of like the very intelligent conversations about the ins and outs of the game and the inner workings of people. It's On the Block on YouTube. There's a lot of pretty good episodes, but I've been kind of falling off just because I've been getting really busy with 2 jobs and stuff like that. But if you want a good place for a good resource of Big Brother info, and go to On the Block on YouTube. But also you can always hit me up on Twitter at McCrae Chum, McCraechum. I will answer every question all the time. My DMs are open. If you want to talk, if you want to know anything, or if you want help with casting, I'm always there to help. I'm always a good resource. Pretty much as long as you're not a dick, I'll always answer your questions and give you any information you guys need to know. And I'll always give my opinions. But yeah, if you just want to say hi, shit, I'll do that too. Yeah. That's about it.
Cool. What's the one piece of technology you can't live without?
Ooh, my brain. No, my computer. I bought this computer with Big Brother money, and this thing's a beasto. It just destroys just all games. I'm on Twitch and shit like that. I've never had a computer that could actually run a video game. My parents are poor as shit. So now that I finally have like this just badass computer, That's the one piece of technology I can't live without. I love it so much.
What's your favorite game right now?
Ooh, my favorite game right now. I've been playing a lot of Overwatch competitive. I started playing No Man's Sky, which is pretty. I mean, a lot of people are down on it, but I'm a person that likes physics in games, so it's like I can just explore these physics for nonstop and just try to push it to the limit. So I'm a person that likes to jump up mountains in Skyrim and all that kind of stupid shit. So I love that kind of stuff. What about the iPhone? You want to talk about that?
Oh, yeah. Actually, that was interesting, too. So when we were setting this up, one thing I often do, somebody gives me their number to text them. I'll always go to one of my Apple or iDevices I've got around, and I'll send them a message. So that way I know if they're an iPhone user or not, because you can iMessage iPhone users as long as you got their phone number. But I've been an Android guy for better part of almost 2 years now, just because I keep getting gadgets that work better with non-Apple devices, like my Pebble Watch, or I had Google Glass. I still have Google Glass. It's my sunglasses.
Oh, cool.
And it just worked better. But you're an iPhone user, so what did you think about the announcements on the new iPhone?
So before Big Brother, I fucking loathed. I didn't even have a smartphone before Big Brother, but I was always kind of like, fuck Macs and fuck all that bullshit. Like, I hate Apple and I hate the fucking users of Apple. They're like, well, I can't even figure out how to get into a window. Like, I for whatever reason, I would just talk shit about them nonstop. But when I came out, Amanda was an iPhone user. A good portion of my cast was iPhone users. So they pretty much like browbeat me into getting an iPhone just so we could Apple Message or FaceTime. Like I use that. So for a long time now, I've been like on the Apple train of getting the new Apple phones. But this is crossing the line. This is where it's like, nope, see you later. It's almost where I'm at with Nintendo. Same thing where it's like, well, fuck you too. Like, you don't even want to consider what I use my Apple iPhone for. My iPhone is 90% hooked up to my headphones or hooked up to an auxiliary cable listening to podcasts. Like, you're gonna fucking take a shit all over that? Like, everything in the fucking world, like all music production, usually no one's using fucking Bluetooth for like listening on their headphones. Like, at least maybe, I don't know, but I don't want wireless signals, assholes. I want fucking cables. Like, I don't care. Fuck you, Apple. Sorry, all you Apple
No, I'm actually really excited about this because for me, I've been on Bluetooth headphones for a little while. I've got these ones, even though you see I'm wired in on it. But I'm the same way, and I really can't see them saving that much space. And I think the internet has been genuinely displeased. So I'm excited to talk to somebody who's like, no way, especially since their compromise is, oh, but we'll give you a lightning to headphone converter dongle. So
I don't want dongles. I don't want that shit. Like, the one thing that the saving grace for it is pretty much that they're like, oh, well, it's you can drop it in water. And literally, I just dropped my phone like probably a month ago in water, completely broken, my iPhone. So I had to get a new one. But you know what? I would rather fucking pay that money to keep my fucking jack, my auxiliary jack. I don't care about water. Like, I should just be more careful and not be a fucking idiot. Like, that's my thing about it. I'll buy a new case, or I'll buy a waterproof case or some shit. Like, I just want to be able to plug anything into it, like audio wise. Like, I love audio, so whatever, like, I need that capability. And to give me like, okay, well, you got to convert it through 70 different things. It's like, that's all you ever do is sell me converters, assholes. Like the lightning to HDMI converter. Like, I got to buy that shit too for my girlfriend's iMac. Like, that's bullshit. It's like Nintendo. Where Nintendo wants to just sell you bullshit. They want to sell you little peripherals that make you spend more on Nintendo, and it keeps them selling stuff. I'm gonna lose like wireless headbuds. I'll lose those immediately. I'm an idiot.
What do they call them? They call them AirPods. And if you guys haven't seen them, just think of the average Apple headphones. Clip them where the wire meets the rubber, cable protectors. Essentially, what it is. And these are the wireless headphones that Apple has come up with. And the number one thing I've heard people say is, I'm so excited to see these amazing headphones that I'll probably lose the first time I run with them.
Immediately. Well, and that's the thing is, like, as much as like a gnarled mess of like cable that this is. Like, I can always see exactly where this is in my room. Like, I'll still have to, like, pull it apart and to get it to full capacity, but I know where this is. I know always that this is just a stupid mess in my room. And I love these headphones. These are not bad headphones. Why screw with that? Because it's trying to push innovation. It's trying to be like, oh, we're so innovative and, you know, oh, we're Apple. We do things differently. No, you're just fucking doing stuff just to piss people, or just to gain more money. I don't know. It bothers me because it's not pushing innovation. That is not innovation. Again, taking away the tactile response of like button pushing on a phone, that's not innovation. I'm sorry, but tactile response is how you know that you're pushing a button. I cannot stand it when I'm trying to type and it's just like, I don't know what the fuck I'm typing. I wish I knew what a button was. Like I hear a click, I see a letter come up, but I want tactile response. Like, I'm still so Stone Age when it comes to that thing. I want a button. I want the sidekick, like, or whatever that one was. You flip, you got a button. I want keyboards. I want when I push a button, stuff happens. I don't want just to believe it on its own magic. I don't know.
Maybe that's the reason why we have such horrible texting, spelling, and etiquette now, because
absolutely
we're so disassociated from the process.
And that's how I am too, where it's like, well, I'm on my iPhone. I don't give a shit what the grammar is going to come out. I'm going to say a bunch, like, doesn't matter. Like, if it comes out wrong, I don't care. I spent too much time typing away at this stupid thing in the first place. Like, I've already wasted my time sending you a text, or not you personally, but
well, you know, and the nice thing too is, I think, especially since almost every virtual keyboard now has some type of predictive text. Once you've already sent a bad text message to somebody, just follow it up building sentences strictly from intuitive text. Like, if it thinks it knows the next word you're going to say, just run with it. Keep picking them. Go ahead.
Just go with it.
Let it ride. That's what I say. Yeah. Just let it ride.
That's the way that I feel. Like, I get so many people on Twitter like, oh, here's your grammar lesson, fuckface. Like, blee, blee, blee. Here, you did this wrong. And it's like, well, I was just typing really quick. Like, I don't care. Like, I've already spent too much time on you assholes. Sorry. Like, yeah, whatever. That's my rant for the night.
Well, I'm glad we helped you get the poison out of your system.
Oh, it felt great. It felt great.
I'm glad. Yeah, not being an Apple user anymore, I don't have to worry about being so passionate about it. And honestly, I really might, because from a design standpoint, well, case in point, when I got one of those life-proof cases for my iPhone back in the day, I got pissed off the moment the waterproof dongle that it had for extending the headphone jack out, once that shorted out, my case was useless. So at that point, I kind of felt what the pain was, because now suddenly I don't really have the option of using this case and using my headphones.
Absolutely.
So, you know, I don't know. I think too, when like on the bigger one, because naturally we all want bigger phones now. My daughter, by the way, who is 13 now, she actually wanted to go down to that special edition one that's more like the well, actually, and this is sad, I was going through a drawer in the house and I found an old iPhone, but it's about this size. It's like the 4 size.
Okay.
Or 5. And she liked it because it's a smaller form factor. But in the bigger one, they have like 2 camera lenses now, so they could take really nice pictures. But did you notice that housing for the camera lenses actually extends above the surface of the back of the phone?
Really? Okay.
So it's almost like an annoying kickstand that you're just waiting to scratch the protective glass on.
Of course. Yeah. And the other thing about that is like, okay, well, now you're getting your camera shit on point. Like, Android's been, and all the other phones, like, they've been working on their cameras for way longer. It just feels like, I don't know, iPhone has neglected their cameras, I feel like, for just like most of the time. I might be talking out of my ass, but it just seems like they don't give a shit. Like, just because they complain, people complain, squeaky wheel gets the grease. Like,
no, I can tell you, I don't know what it is about the hubris of Apple. And I admit, I used to get really pissy when I had an iPhone and they would announce new features and the Android people were like, yeah, we had that 2 operating systems ago.
We already had that. Exactly.
But it's true. After they introduced and innovated, it seems like they have continuously been behind the technological side. So much so, like the pictures I was taking 2 years ago in Texas on whatever Android that was at the time. The picture quality people were talking on from that Android, they were just like, dude, it's insane.
Well, and to go full circle is Dr. Will. Apple is Dr. Will, and they're gonna be like, like everyone, let's do a fast. We're gonna get rid of our headphone jacks, and it's pretty much like separating the sheep, like, and all the stupid little iPhone users that I can't even use anything else. Yeah, of course I'll go with you. This is the greatest innovation that's ever happened to iPhones. Like. They're separating out their market, and they're going to keep their market dumb. They're going to keep them fucking complacent. Good job, Dr. Will, Apple iPhones.
I like the analogy. I like the way you brought it all back around, dude. That was wonderful.
Thank you.
Well, McCrae, I got to say thank you very much for your time.
No. Thank you for having me. It was my pleasure, of course.
To our listening audience, if you made it this far, congratulations.
Yeah, I know you did.
I'll tell you something. I really felt like for the longest time, I was more of an isolated viewer because it seemed like only in my immediate circle would I hear people talking about Big Brother. But somewhere around season 6 or 7, I think, it seems like it started to branch out and more people were talking about it. So much so that I'm glad, because I always look forward to the summer and Big Brother season. It's always recorded in my household because, like we've said, it's an amazing. It's literally, in many ways, like watching a televised version of Lord of the Flies. Just
absolutely.
Nobody has a conch, and Piggy doesn't get killed.
Yeah.
So, I would really encourage anyone, if you want to see the way that closed quarters can really affect the human psyche, and the way that we do really break down in these confined social interactions, you got to watch Big Brother. And if you want to see this new version that's going to play out on CBS All Access, I think it's only like $5.99 or $9.99 a month.
I think it's $5.99 a month or something like that.
There's a lot more benefit to it. You're going to get the new Star Trek series. I think all of the episodes of past. I don't know. Are the past seasons on there?
All the past seasons are on. All of the seasons 1 through 18 are all on there. You're gonna get Twin Peaks, a full collection of Twin Peaks. You got all sorts of crazy shows. Miami Vice, like CBS All Access, and they just changed over so that there's no commercials during all this stuff. Like before, I was like, CBS All Access is bullshit. At least I get Twin Peaks. That's kind of cool. Like I get that, I get to watch old season of Big Brother. But now that they've switched over to no commercials, we're going for CBS All Access. I wish I had like a little reference coupon to get some money back on this bullshit. But
yeah, I think there's 2-tiered plans. So if you can tolerate commercials, it's $5.99, or you can pay $9.99 a month and you get commercial-free access to this stuff. All you got to do is go to netheadsonair.com, click the CBS All Access, the banner right there, and you can sign up. You can watch all the old stuff. You can catch up with the current. You can watch this new season of Big Brother. And I'll admit, because of its uniqueness, I knew I was going to have to get a CBS All Access account when the Star Trek news was announced. I'm probably going to jump on it. So just go to netheadsonair.com, click the CBS All Access link to get signed up if you want to.
Absolutely.
We definitely appreciate it, because that is one of the very few ways we get very few shekels around here.
Yes.
And as McCrae said, please go to youtube.com and just check out On the Block, his show, where he does get really inside baseball, I'm sure, with Big Brother as well. Not to mention, they have an actual by the way, what is it with people that have to yell in the diary room? What the fuck is with these people?
Because yelling is an easy way to mask like just not being entertaining. Hey, so I'm over here and I'm blah, blah. Like that's the easiest way to like, okay, well, you're not feeling it, so you just yell, like instead of being like animated, like, hey, well, I was over here. Like it's just lazy. It's a lazy person thing. That's what I feel.
Thank you for not being one of them. I
was very aware of that, where I was like, I don't want to be the yeller. I know everyone hates the yeller. Like I'm gonna use my body to emote instead of just screaming.
Dude, Paul this season, bro, his diary rooms and one thing too, by the way, if you want to catch at least the last few episodes to find what we were talking about, it's very interesting too because in this final 5 that are currently in the house, 2 of them are returning game players from past seasons.
Veterans.
Yeah, James and Nicole.
Nicole.
Yeah, it's, by the way, her diary rooms alone, like the moment I saw she was one of the people that came back.
Golly, yeah, just the worst.
It was just an audible, oh crap.
Yep, she'll make your ears bleed.
Yeah. So please, and as McCrae pointed out too, he's McCrae Chum on Twitter. So give him a follow because God, he needs some followers, man. I'm telling you. Those numbers are just I don't know. And if you did come over because McCrae checked it out, hey, do me a favor, just subscribe to NetHeads. I don't care if you listen to it at all.
Absolutely,
all right,
let's do it.
Just download it to your device. That's all. You can delete it afterwards. Don't use it on a metered data plan. I wouldn't want you to spend any money, but for the free stuff, just subscribe and download NetHeads. That's all I'm asking for now.
No, and you got to listen to those Josh episodes. You know, like they all know Josh.
Dude,
all my people.
I got to be honest. If it weren't for the fact that I saw that Josh seems to have been doing a lot of stuff, he was actually going to be my first go-to because honestly, I really view this interview as kind of like cashing in a card. It's like, okay, well, you got that one, cha-ching, you're done.
No,
thank you. You got this is your Disney Fast Pass. Congratulations, no line.
Once me and Josh unveil our next project, we'll both be on and we'll do another one. I'd love to be back.
That would be awesome. Especially, if there's a good reason for you to be here. Because
this is not a good reason.
Well, I mean, like a good, like something to plug, and God knows, dude, do it on a podcast with more downloads, okay? But we'll welcome you here because if there is no bad press, then we are definitely the place you want to press. Anyway, folks, thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you for listening to those of us that live. If you downloaded, thank you so much as well. Until next time, I'm Will.
I'm McCrae.
Oh my God, dude. I love it when people just step in and automatically do that. No prompt, no nothing.
I love podcasts. I'll do it.
Broadcast pro.
Yeah.
Anyway, you can always find us free and funny, especially in one location, and that is
at smodcast.com.
Thank you, Trent. And thank you, McCrae. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins and Trent Hunsaker signing off.
I know, right? But stop being a little Nancy and deal with it.
NetHeads. We'll be back soon.
Goodbye.
This has been a production of Smodco Internet Radio. Sir, only at smodcast.com.
Now, another thing I didn't talk to you about is the fact that we always have this stupid stinger at the end of the episode. I mean, I don't know why we close out the episode and do this, other than the fact that I always used to love like bonus tracks on albums. Right?
I love it. Yeah, absolutely.
So I didn't talk to you about it all. So we don't need to say anything funny other than just thanks everybody for tuning in. I really appreciate it.
No, absolutely. I thought it was kind of interesting that at the beginning of the episode, you talked about how there was a wall shouter like in the early seasons of Big Brother.
Oh yeah, no, I think that was that was in the very first season. The crazy megaphone lady.
Literally, there's been a wall shouter within the last week with a megaphone or whatever. And so I took to Twitter and I started going at this person like, you're a self-entitled little son bitch, like you're probably a reject casting reject, like, and now I'm just getting piled on in hate and just pain. I should not have opinions on Twitter. What a mistake.
Well, that's too bad, but come on, production manipulates enough. We don't need outside forces doing that too, right?
Exactly. Again, if it's an experiment, you want to keep as little amount of variables in that experiment as possible. Yeah, exactly. Production puts so many variables in it in the first place. I don't want any extra variables outside. So if you're one of those people that needs to influence a show that you like so badly that you would drive to LA to go to the house and scream something over it just for your 5 seconds of satisfaction, like go reevaluate everything you know. I hate you.
And give that money to charity, you lose.
Absolutely.